Today's episode is sponsored by Anchor. My cousin recommended this app to me, and I thought this was an app about boats or anchors for sale or something, but Anchor is a completely free and easy way to start your own podcast. All of the tools are laid out for you, from recording to editing to even adding voice messages from listeners. You can also podcast from your phone or computer. Wait, there's more. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more services. No tedious individual uploading and sharing. And the best part, you can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. That is the free Anchor app, or go to anchor.fm. Hello everyone, my name is Frank Anthony and welcome to Let Me Be Frank. So this week is going to be a solo podcast, and it's episode 10, only a couple more episodes, and then there's going to be a month off. I could kind of use the break. I feel like with any type of work, you should take a little bit of break. I start school July 6th, a couple days before my birthday, so it'll be nice. I'll still be planning and stuff for the podcast during that time, but it'll be nice to actually get a breather from that project as I go into this other thing, and I'm still working on the book, and I'm just, I'm working on all these things, so it is nice to get a little bit of a break here and there. I feel like you should do that. But today's topic is how to set SMART goals. So obviously with COVID-19 going on, most people's schedules have been affected by this pandemic, and it's become easier to drift off of the path we pave, because goals are supposed to help individuals keep their, as I quote, eye on the prize. But there's also the risk of not achieving those goals and ultimately becoming disappointed. During the following current events, most of us don't want to be more disappointed than we already are. So today I thought I would offer some tips on setting SMART goals that will help you stay on track instead of crashing and burning. One of my long-term goals currently is finishing a manuscript. I used to always say that one of my goals was to publish a book since I was very young, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But there's many factors involved when publishing a book, and with a lot of goals, there are steps to walk before standing on top of a staircase. Before I get into setting those specific SMART goals, I feel like I just gave a letter away by accident. You'll see what I mean. I think it's important to discuss the importance of setting goals in the first place. You can live life however you want, and if you don't want to set goals, you don't need to, but I feel like there's a sense of direction and focus when setting goals. You feel motivated and determined to work towards something that will make you happy and accomplished. Another reason that helps me out is my life can get very busy with the busyness. And I didn't know what I was going to say there. And but with getting so busy, disorganization can occur. So setting goals, it helps me, and I know it helps others, organize our time for what's important to us and help us live our life to the fullest. So without further ado, here's some tips that I've learned and did some little research on about setting SMART goals. So SMART, if you didn't notice in the title, excuse me, is actually an acronym or mnemonic device to help you remember important pieces to setting effective goals that you have a better chance at achieving. So I'm going to go through each letter. So I'll start with S, which I accidentally gave away earlier and I said specific. S stands for specific. So this brings me back to the example I used earlier about one of my goals. Publishing a book is somewhat specific, but it can be more specific since there's various pieces into publishing a book. You have to write the story out in its entirety. There's deciding whether you're going to self-publish the book or try to get a publisher to pick it up. There's marketing the book. There's book design, editing, creating an outline if you choose to do that. Overall, there's many steps because if you're willing to write a book and you don't want to just publish the book, you want people to actually be reading the book, picking up the book and reading it. You want to make money from the book. So vague goals can be frustrating and harder to achieve. Sorry, I'm coughing a lot. I forgot my water too. Sorry about that. So the M stands for measurable. I've also seen meaningful in the research that I did that people use for the M in the acronym. Because if a goal isn't meaningful, then what's the point in making that goal? Measurable goals means that you're breaking down your goals into measurable elements or components. It becomes easier to track progress towards these goals. I found a good analogy online about not making your goals measurable, and the example for that is not having measurable goals. It's like a sports competition without a scoreboard or scorekeeper. And I thought that was a cool analogy there. A couple of good examples for good measurable goals are, let's say, I just think about food and diets. I've gone through like so many diets and stuff and trying to stay on track with that. It's kind of like following the keto diet and achieving 15% body fat. I used to be really big on having specific body fat percentages back in the day, in the younger days. So following the keto diet and achieving 15% body fat is a specific goal. Or I think about YouTube reaching, you need 1,000 subscribers to be able to start monetizing, I want to say. So reaching 1,000 YouTube subscribers by the end of the month. So that's another example. An example that could be tied to my book would be one that I'm currently using with a friend is writing a chapter by every Friday at 2 p.m. So these types of goals, they provide you with a clear vision, some urgency, and a way to track the progress that you've made. So before I get into the A, the R, the T, the other letters, I'm going to take a quick commercial break. I need to go get some water. I feel like I'm going to cough again. So we will be right back. And we're back. Sorry about that. I hope I don't keep coughing. I do have a water bottle with me now, so if I pause for a quick second, it's because I'm in desperate need of drinking it, I guess. So hopefully, oh my God, I feel like I can feel another cough. I blame the allergies. Okay. All right. I think I'm okay. So we talked about, before the commercial, we were talking about SMART goals, and we focused on the S and M. Yes, we did. Yes, S and M. So that was specific and measurable was the more common word that I found. The A in SMART stands for achievable. So I used to have a small business through Pure Haven. Maybe that will be a topic in the future. We'll see. I'm going to mention Old Navy too a little bit later. And like I said, that might be another topic in the future. We'll see what happens. But I I used to have a small business through Pure Haven, and it was crucial to set goals if you wanted to be successful. So, but starting at level one, like joining the company in the beginning with, you don't really have a customer base at this time. You're brand new. You're excited, but you're brand new. And I knew I couldn't set a goal of making like $5,000 a month and receive like 3-4 promotions after 1 month. Like I knew right at the beginning that just wasn't going to happen. It's not just unrealistic, but it's also not achievable. So, because without implementing this letter, I feel like this is when people start to get discouraged because they're not hitting those goals that they make, and then ultimately they end up giving up. And I want to also add that don't be afraid to add onto your goals exactly how you're going to attain them. So, an example that relates to a small business could be, I want to make $300 in the first month and have at least 5 to 10 new customers. And I'm going to do that by creating a landing page that will collect email addresses to keep customers in the loop about the various products and about product news. So I feel like that's definitely going to be a little bit more attainable than that first goal that just seems like that you will achieve eventually if you keep working towards it and keep creating these SMART goals, but it's not going to happen right from the get. Also make sure to observe the conditions and limitations that might delay or help prevent your goal from being achieved. So the R stands, I feel like this is a big one too, stands for relevant. So it's important to ask yourself, why do you want to achieve this goal? Because I could create a goal, like, I'm trying to think of an example. Like, so actually, I just thought of Salem randomly. I don't know why, but I was obsessed with I made my mom buy me some tarot cards, and as I get more Facebook friends, I've been seeing a lot more people than I thought get into tarot reading and stuff, which is really cool. But I can make a goal that's related to wanting to learn what all of those tarot cards mean, which I'm a little still curious. But the problem, at least in my personal life, making that goal, is that I don't really have a defining purpose for why I want to learn them compared to those other people that I see online who are creating practices and ultimately like they're helping other people with this skill. I didn't really have a purpose besides just making the goal just to make it, just doing it for fun, which of course, do things for fun, but when it comes to making these goals should be specific to what you can keep building from and what's going to lead you towards that path of success that you're looking at. So I mentioned Old Navy, and I've also mentioned Pure Haven. Working at both of those companies, it started to feel like I was making goals just to make them over time. Like as time went on, I'd have goals and I received promotions in both companies, but they didn't have anything to do with the paths that I truly wanted to travel down. Like writing has been that passion for me since I was really young, and like psychology that I've been going to school for, and I'm currently trying to pursue a master's degree in clinical psychology. I believe that a lot of us, we end up doing things because we feel like we have to, or because it's the best way we know how to provide ourselves with an income. Most of us don't start towards the top of the ladder that we want to climb. But I think something that I learned that's really important is that make sure that your ladder is leaning up against the right building. And no, I did not rip off that quote from anywhere. I feel like I made that myself. So if you love that quote as much as it just came up in the top of my head for some reason. I was like, oh, that's wow. Like, how did I come up with something that seems insightful? It beats me, but no. Yeah, I mean, anyway, you may have goals where you may also have goals where you feel like you don't have the skill set or resources to achieve that potential goal. And what I say to that is learn how to master your craft. I constantly try to do that with my writing. I pretty much do it with anything in my life. I believe there's always room for improvement. And even creating this podcast and making it the best that I can has been a goal of mine as well. I make a lot of goals, and I'm trying to slowly make these SMART goals now. As I've made this podcast, I'm slowly learning about all these new things, and so far I've purchased some new headphones that I'm using for the first time today, and I have this new microphone, this Blue Yeti. I forgot the brand on the microphones, and I don't feel like taking them off because it's gonna mess up the sound, even though I think that laugh I just did kind of messed it up. I was a little too close, but anyway, I got these new things to be able to provide a better sound and experience for not just myself, but for you guys listening. So the whole thing with R is remember to ask yourself, why do you want to achieve this goal? And what is the objective behind the goal? And will your goal truly achieve that? So the last letter, we are going to do T. We've done S, M, A, and R. Now the T, I don't know if anyone can guess it. T is for time-based, which is, once again, very crucial. Because in some of the examples that I've used, I've added in some of those previous examples I used, I added a deadline or a time limit to accomplish certain goals. And I did that because I've wanted to publish a book since I was like 10 years old. And I started writing a short story series when I was 6. But a big issue was that, reason why I have yet to fully really finish a project is that I gave myself the rest of my life to accomplish this goal. And guess what? It's taking me a lifetime to achieve it. So, and yeah, think about what you do for work. You have work in front of you that needs to be completed, whether you work in retail or an office, or I always think office jobs and how you always have deadlines for stuff, or you have maybe to answer. I always think how people have to answer 100, 200 emails. If you work in a distribution center, you usually have time limits and goals for that stuff, where stuff needs to be completed by a specific time. So, I mean, some people are good. Wait. Sorry, I had to sneeze. I should have muted the microphone. I'll learn that next time. I don't know what's going on. God, I hope this isn't symptoms for something worse. I knock on wood. Anyway, so what was I talking about? Oh yeah, so some people are good with planning out their time, but if you don't have those time limits for the stuff that you have to complete compared to actually having deadlines, how much do you think you're truly going to get done? It's nice to feel like that time is endless, but time is always moving and it's not going to wait for you. I'm I'm going to use Old Navy for a specific example. I think about I'm going to use when I ran shipment. So with shipment, we had to pretty much like the sooner we could get the product out of the boxes and the packaging and onto the sales floor, the sooner the store would start making money off of that product, obviously. We we usually would have about 4 hours, sometimes more, but usually a good 4 hours to complete a shipment. And there would be days that we would accomplish that, and there'd be days where some stuff had to sit in the back until someone else could until pretty much someone else could work on it. Now, life isn't perfect, and I think about specifically with shipments, trucks could be late, products could be damaged, their staff could be calling out, like, and these are just examples to this specific example, but in general, things are going to come up that can and will affect your progress on achieving a goal. So it's also important to make sure that your goals are also realistic and flexible as well. And I decided to mention shipment as an example because I feel like the company, I feel like they set up this process as like a race against the clock instead of, I don't know, like I look at my goals now in life and it's just, and I'm still getting a lot done without feeling so hectic and stressed. I mean, stress sometimes is inevitable, like, because I feel like, you're the control of your emotions. So you can choose to not feel stressed. You can choose to feel stress, even if it's unconscious. And, but with my goals now, I've been better at not stressing out so much. But I know I felt a lot of stress because of this like constant race. It felt like that all of us would feel in general, this like crazy urgency. And I feel like when you do that, when you set up something like that, the quality of your work can be diminished and morale can decrease. I mean, I saw it firsthand with staff and even with myself a little bit. But in short, make sure that your journey is enjoyable in a timely fashion as well. So as we have a little bit more time, we did have a listener question this week. So I'm going to pull that up right here. So Monica from Facebook, thank you, Monica from Facebook, asks, how do you keep the longevity of maintaining commitment to SMART goals? And I think that is a great question. Like I mentioned towards the beginning of the episode, when goals aren't specific, I think it's easier to want to give up and to not stay committed. I believe that following the SMART goals, like the SMART goals bullet points, will help someone stay committed to their goals for the long term. But I think it also helps to break down those goals so that it doesn't feel like you're trying to travel 3,000 miles in a day, which when I think of that, I think about like a family member my aunt specifically, who's like drove all the way from the south up to up to Mass, and how stressful that is and how they've been able to do that in a day or two, and it's crazy. But but yeah, it doesn't feel good to want to do that. And if your goal is going to take some time, I think you should create those small victories or checkpoints that are going to help you stay on track without feeling discouraged. Because I feel like if we're not stimulated in what feels like a long time, because we all have different perceptions on time, some people lose patience quicker than others. And I feel like as we don't feel stimulated, and we don't feel accomplished, we start to question whether we should be going down this path. And, I'll use an example too of maybe someone like me wants to eventually run their own private practice. There's so many steps that one needs to go up before doing something like that. So you do your research and you talk to the people who have experienced that journey themselves, who have experience, and start to figure out the steps. Like for that one specifically, like you have to go to school and major in psych at least. You have to get the necessary degree. You have to work up at least to a master's, and you have to get licensed. You have to have internships, etc. So I hope that answered the question enough, and I think we're going to wrap up the discussion here. I want to thank you guys so much, each and every one of you, for listening. It means the world to me. I want to thank today's sponsor for sponsoring this episode. I want to thank Sakura HC for the intro music to season 1's episodes. I want to thank Tokyo Music Walker for the outro music that you will hear after I'm done talking. And yeah, I think that's pretty much everyone. Mostly everyone, at least. Next week's topic, so there's only 2 more episodes. I'm still not sure on next week's topic. And then the last week is going to be a full-on, like, getting to know the podcaster. So kind of just, like, questions that you guys have about me. I already started getting some. Those you can send anytime before that episode, which, like I said, it would be the week after next. So yeah, if there's anything you want to know about me, I'll answer it. This is an open and honest podcast pretty much, so I'll try to answer as many as I can with that. Hopefully it's long enough, because if there's not many questions, then I'll have to do something else too, but we'll see. Just wanted to have some fun with that, wrap everything up for season 1 pretty much. It's crazy how fast time goes by, but yeah, I hope everyone has a great day. Also, before I forget too, when I do come up with that topic, I do appreciate when people can come up with questions. I try to ask for them on social media. So when I do come up with that topic, it'll be posted and you guys can send me your questions either by text or message, or there's also voice messages where your voice can play on the episode, which is kind of cool. I really want to test that out. So I'll try to share that link for asking questions more, so people can try to do it that way if you want your voice to be on the podcast. So yeah, have a great day, everyone. Bye.